Shabbat shalom, everyone. I went to Las Vegas earlier this week, and it sounds way more nefarious than it actually was, because instead of going to the casino, I went to Minyan at my old synagogue, and then I hung out with Rabbi Felipe Goodman, and we discussed themes and topics for sermons for the high holidays, and then I went to use the mikveh, and Rabbi Goodman forgot to turn on the heater for the mikveh, so it was a very cold mikveh. But what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? There was another part of this trip, another recurring thing that I want to talk about today, and it is a defunct of what I call the system. Let me explain what I'm talking about. After I arrived at the airport, I waited in this long line to get on a bus that was filled with drunk people. And this bus was going to take all of us to the rental car center. And so we went. And apparently the driver of this bus was also drunk, because we would go back and forth. And we got to the rental car center. I got off as quickly as I could, and I made a dash for the budget car rental line. And when I got there, there were two kids working behind the counter, and about 493 people ahead of me in line, all of whom were also drunk. And you should know there were two categories of drunk people in the budget car line, and both groups annoyed me. One group of drunks were just way too happy to be there, way too happy to be just wasting their lives away in the budget car line. They were making small talk with strangers, talking about football, slurring their words and being really gross. And this annoyed me because they were too happy and I was not. And then there was another group of drunk people, and these were the angry drunks. And they kept shouting things like, "This is disgraceful," or "These people are incompetent." And they were also slurring words and being gross. And they annoyed me because they were loud and obnoxious, and because I knew that the 19-year-old kid behind the counter was not responsible for the place being understaffed. So I waited and waited and waited for around 96 years, and finally I got to the counter to talk with this college kid. And at this point, friends, I'm ready to do literally anything to get a car and leave. I'll sign anything they want. I'll give them anything they want. I would probably even do a mob hit for them if they promised me I could have a car to do it in. And the process at the counter is also really slow. And then this child said the dreaded words no one wants to hear. He said, "I'm sorry this is taking so long. The system is down." The system is down. I should have known. Now, what happened next, I was not expecting. I haven't seen something like this in many, many years. This kid took out something. He looked at it like he didn't even know what it was. I hear people used to call it a pen. And he used something that I heard that they called paper, and he filled out the rental contract by hand, like it was 1923 or something. And finally, after 97 years of waiting, I got a car. Mazel tov to me. So I drove to the hotel, and I got there, and I waited in that line for another 27 years. And the woman who was helping me this time was not a college kid. Rather, this poor woman was really, really, really old. Like not Hannah Ross old. I felt bad. She was almost close to that. I felt bad that she had to work at a hotel in Las Vegas and deal with grumpy me and a myriad of other drunk people. So she asked my name. And then after I told her, she didn't do anything with it, because then she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. The system is down." And when she said this, I took a quick look around, and I noticed that all of the slot machines in the hotel were still functioning properly, and there were still bartenders pumping out cocktails and beers from the bar. So allow me to note for the record that those systems will never go down. In the history of Las Vegas, those systems have never gone down, nor will they ever. So finally, this poor woman gave me a slip of paper with my room number on it, which I felt a little awkward carrying around. It was like having a note from your mom that says, no, Jonathan can really stay here tonight. So I wandered around, and I got to my room, and I got a text from Rabbi Goodman, and it said, Jonathan, do you see what's happening in Lebanon? They're blowing up pagers. So I opened a news article, and let me tell you, friends, the system over in Lebanon really went down earlier this week. Boy, howdy. Now, you've obviously all heard by now that Israel implanted explosives into the pagers and walkie-talkies that Hezbollah utilizes. People bring their kids to shul and let them run around. I don't know. That's good. One of them's mine. It's okay. Hezbollah also apparently has access to a time machine because they're the only people on the planet still utilizing pagers like it's 1992 or something. By the way, the whole reason Hezbollah started using pagers was because Israel was easily hacking into their cell phones and cellular networks. So Hezbollah, in their infinite wisdom, pivoted to a technology that was apparently even easier to sabotage. And now there are thousands of terrorists who are missing hands, arms, eyeballs, hips, and yes, they're unmentionables. I'm telling you, folks, the system really went down over there. Now, we know that Hezbollah is an actual terrorist organization. The United States listed them as a foreign terrorist group all the way back in 1997, and then Germany, the United Kingdom, the Czech Republic, Austria, several other countries followed suit after that. We also know that Hezbollah is fully integrated into Lebanese society. Actually, 40 members of the Lebanese parliament are actual Hezbollah terrorists. And we know that on October 8th, the day after Hamas was found beheading women, shooting babies in their own cribs, Hezbollah immediately began firing rockets and missiles at northern Israel in solidarity with Hamas. So with all that said, I find it really ironic that the media wants me to feel bad about Israel blowing up Hezbollah terrorists by detonating devices or by airstrikes. It's laughable. They want me to feel sad that they killed Ibrahim Akhil in an airstrike yesterday. This was Hezbollah's second in command, and he was responsible for the 1983 bombing of the U.S. Embassy in Beirut that killed 241 U.S. Marines. Several articles I have read are using rhetoric saying Israel attacks are unprecedented and inhumane and that they crossed the red line. When in reality, the pager and walkie-talkie strikes were incredibly precise, targeting only those who had devices distributed by the terrorist organization Hezbollah. Now, with any military attack, the possibility of innocent people getting hurt is likely. And unfortunately, we know that happened with these operations, but in a very limited capacity. Honestly, I really hate when children are hurt in wartime. But I hate terrorists more because they are the ones who perpetuate this cycle of violence for decades and decades and decades. In our Parshat and our Haftorah for the week, Ki Tavo, and then from the prophet Isaiah, which Mike read so beautifully, God tells the Jewish people that if our enemies attempt to harm us, he will shut their systems down. For instance, in Deuteronomy 28, we're told that various Israelite tribes are supposed to ascend a mountain and declare the following, quote, Adonai will grant that the enemies who rise up against you will be defeated before you. They will come at you from one direction, but they will flee at you from 7 directions. Later on, in the prophet Isaiah, he tells us, quote, For a nation or kingdom that does not serve you shall perish. Such nations shall be destroyed. The glory of Lebanon shall come to you. Now, if that is not prophetic for this week, I don't know what is. Dear friends, the world will find itself with a lot less dead terrorists if they could only figure out what the Jewish people already know. The God of Israel is on our side, and the land of Israel is ours. It belongs to the Jewish people. If you go to the Middle East now and just look around at the various countries there, you'll notice something very quickly. There is only one Jewish state that has only been around for about 85 years and is about the size of New Jersey. And that one Jewish state is currently pummeling these Islamic countries that are way larger, way older, and can recruit way more soldiers. You'll also notice that Israel is the only country in the Middle East that has modern and progressive policies. It grants expansive civil liberties, equal rights, and economic opportunities to its citizens, even to its Arab population, which makes up 20% of the country. Israel protects freedom from religion and is the only Middle Eastern country in which Christians are growing in numbers currently. Women enjoy complete freedom in Israel. They serve in all levels of government and business and even participate in the military drafts. And while gay and lesbian people are being thrown off of roofs in other Middle Eastern countries, Israel believes that all of their citizens should be able to live in peace. I'm telling you, the system is down everywhere in the Middle East except for Israel. Now, I suppose I should tell you how my Vegas trip ended. After returning my rental car and checking in at the airport, I was told that I had to go to the customer service counter for my airline I was flying with. And when I got there, I kid you not, the young lady told me, "Mr. Hodson, I'm so sorry. It appears something went wrong with our system." And I thought, here we go. She said, "I'm so sorry, we can no longer accommodate you in your original seat, but we do have one open seat in first class if you'd like to take that." Why, yes, I would. So, in conclusion, dear friends, the system may be down, but God will still look out for his chosen people. Shabbat Shalom.